Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to the next video, the next DVD update video. Since I did one already and talk about war films, so I might as well talk about doing this in another section here. So that way people can see what in the different genres. So I don't want to get mixed up. But anyway, get into the next section of DVDs, and then I'll follow the next video with the anime updates. So starting off now. Most of this series is basically horror films, but I'll have some other non ones as well. I'll start with the non ones first. First up, I have here is the classic film from 79, and that is of like the really big budget at the time, the big budget Disney movie, The Black Hole. Now my dad, this is another one. This is one my dad saw in the theater back then. Back in '79, he saw this in the theater. I don't know if it was by himself or with friends though. I don't think my grandpa saw it with him though, but yeah, but he liked the Black Hole, and so you got another good cast members. You got Maximilian Schell, then you got Anthony Perkins, Norman Bates from Psycho, Robert Forster, he's in this, another great actor, is at least passed away. Rest in peace to him. You got Joseph Bottoms, Yvette Mininox, mispronounced the name, and you also got Ernest Borgnine. So another one has just passed away, and also I think one of the voices in the AI, like the robots or in the computer, one of them is Roddy McDowell, Peter Vincent from Fright Night, among others, Planet of the Apes as well. But uh, but yeah, this was the time was the biggest, but I think it was the biggest, most expensive Disney film they did. It took a lip doing a live action movie of this and with the Disney brand on it, and I think it was a success. So yeah, but the Black Hole. Next is of I think this was made for TV, but it stars these two actors I like, and so well actually it has some other good actors as well, but this was made for TV though. But it's called Death. It's based on the title. It's based on an alternate title called Death Train, but the official title I have here is called Detonator, and it stars Pierce Bronson. You got Patrick Stewart. And other two actors who are in this as well. You got Ted Levine, Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs, and you got the late Christopher Lee in this. So yeah, Ted Levine, Christopher Lee. You got, and then of course the two stars, Pierce Bronson and Patrick Stewart in this. But I think it was originally was based on a novel. I think it was called Death Train because there's a train right there. So but they call this Detonator. The next is we have which is one of the early films from director Danny Boyle. Really enough, before he directed 28 Days Later, which is I like 20 Days Later. I liked Sunshine, and of course the recently new 28 Years Later he came out directed. But before that he directed this film called The Beach, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. Then you got Tilda Swinton. Yeah, Tilda Swinton. She's been in quite a few films, and you got Robert Carlyle. Which really enough though, but Danny Boyle he didn't direct the sequel 28 Weeks Later, but Robert Carlyle was in that though. Funny enough. Yeah, and it's actually based on a book that by Alex Garland. Alex Garland wrote a book. I know he's a writer. He's been a writer on among recent films among recent years, like the Doom films or the Annihilation it was, or the Ex Machina, among those type of films, and so, but he wrote a book this was based on his book of the same name. Really, Alex Garland. I did not know that though, but I know that Danny Boyle directed this though. But I find that funny though. Yeah, but the beach. Yeah, but this is from the year 2000. Of course, among the time when DiCaprio was riding high because of his famous role in Titanic. So but yeah, but Danny Boyle. Yeah, but also he also directed Transpotting. That was with Ewan McGregor as well. But I like 20 Days Later. I like Sunshine, and I also like 127 Hours. Forgot to mention he directed that with James Franco. I like 127 Hours. So yeah, but this is The Beach. And next, these ones are just horror films now. So some of these I probably will. I think I'll write to review for upcoming Halloween month. So if I do, I hope you go looking forward to these upcoming ones. Starting with this one that came out was a couple of 2023. It's a shark film called The Black Demon. Of course it's a shark film. It stars Josh Lucas, starring films from like was it Sweet Home Alabama, the remake of the Poseidon Adventure called the Poseidon from 2006. He was also in Ang Lee's Hulk, and also the last one, the last Purge film called The Forever Purge. So yeah, just Josh Lucas. He stars in this. Um, but yeah, it's a shark film called The Black Demon. I think it was supposed to be like yeah, it's yeah. I forgot to mention it's directed by the guy who directed. I didn't see that until now. Because got my hopes up now because I saw right here right now. I didn't really see this, but this is for the guy who directed the fifth Rambo film, Rambo: Last Blood. I really forgot that. Yeah, I you know how I feel about the fifth Rambo film. So, but hey, benefit of the doubt. So the Black Demon. So it's a shark film, but we'll have to wait. I'll see on this one though. But yeah. Next is actually one of the new films that came out this year because I gotta say, this year has been a very crap year. It has been. There's only been a few films I like of this year. That shows. If there's only a few films I like this year, that shows how shit this year has been. But actually, this is the one of the few films I actually like. To me, I think it's the best horror film I've seen this year, and that is of Hard Eyes. I actually like this film. I had my doubts on it because it's another serial killer film from it's on Valentine, and actually Valentine's Day I would say. I meant to say that, but I do think this is better than the 2001 film Valentine. Definitely can say that right now. But actually, yeah, but really enough, I was surprised by, and it is produced by the guy. It is produced by director Christopher Landon, who directed Happy Death Day, which I like both the films, Happy Death Day 1 and 2. But I was actually surprised by. Yeah, I actually enjoyed Hard Eyes. You can see that I should review this because it takes place on Valentine's Day, but it's a horror film, so. But I'll review it for Halloween month of October. So, but yeah, I actually enjoy this film. It's actually, since this year has been so crap, there's very few films I like. I think maybe I'll put this in my top 3 so far this year because that's how shit this year has been. So, but yeah, hope you'll look forward to this though. Hard Eyes. So, a nice surprise, really enough. And back to another shark film. Wasn't a fan of this film, and sadly, this is the last film that this guy directed before he passed away, though, sad to say. And this is of Shark Night. Or technically, when it came out, it was called Shark Night 3D. But yeah, it's directed by David R. Ellis. This is the guy who directed Final Destination 2 and 4. His first film he did was Homeward Bound 2, Lost in San Francisco. Really enough, I liked that. I grew up watching that film. But that was his debut, though. But he also directed Snakes on a Plane. Dumb fun, though. But I still like Snakes on a Plane still. He directed Cellular, criminally underrated movie. I love Cellular. I think it's a criminally underrated movie. So yeah, David R. Ellis, and then so this sadly this is the last film he directed in 2011 before he passed away like a few years later. Sad to say. Sad he went out on a whimper. Went out on a whimper. Sad to say though, because I wasn't a fan of this, which I'll get to why though. But Shark Night. Sally, David R. Ellis went out on a whimper on this. Sad to say. It's too bad. I like him. You know, I like Final Destination 2. That's the best one of that series. But I love Cellular. I like Snakes on a Plane. I like Homeward Bound 2. But it was just not. It was not. It was just, it was not the right film for him to direct. So, oh well. And then the last one is which is another one I'll review for Halloween month. So, and that is this is one I've been wanting to review for quite some time though, but never got around to though, and that is of the Midnight Meat Train. Which is from the adaptation of Clive Barker, the guy who directed and created Hellraiser. But is based on a story from Clive Barker, and you got the guy who Ryuri Kitamura, mispronounced the name because it's Japanese, but this is the guy who directed Godzilla Final Wars. And it stars Bradley Cooper, and you got Brooke Shields, and you got Vinnie Jones, the guy who played the Juggernaut from X-Men Last Stand. He's the villain in this. So, but that's another one I'm going to review. So, yeah, the Midnight Meat Train. But anyway, so that's it for now. So that's for the regular movies. So after the next follow up, I'll do is the animes. So that's the for the regular DVD update. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the part 3 of DVD update is the animes. So I'll see you in the next video.